Good morning, folks. The Real Captain Kirk here, live from Weather Trends 360 studio here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It is the 24th of June. It is officially summertime. I thought I'd real quick explain why I say the Real Captain Kirk. I was a captain back in the day in the Air Force, some 29, 30 years ago, and worked briefly with this pretty famous general, General Stormin Norman, Schwarzkopf. A real innovator when it came to using weather to his advantage. Now, when I present this to kids, they're like 30 years ago, we're like 17, so they have no clue what I'm talking about. So I'll play this clip out of Star-Lord. This is how the kids make me feel. Pretty old, but I thought this was a pretty funny clip from Chris Pratt back in the day.
It's just the outfit, man. Ninja Turtle, you better stop poking me.
What is your name?
My name is Peter Quill, okay? Dude, chill out.
Move!
Why?
Roman may have questions for you.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
Who?
Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw. Guys,
Move!
I forget this.
So that's how the kids make me feel. So summer officially did arrive on Friday. It's anything but summer-like, really, this spring. We've had the fewest 90-degree days really back to 2013 and almost back to 2007. It's the greatest year-over-year drop in hot 90 Fahrenheit days across the country in 22 years. So again, hot in the southeast this spring and maybe the Pacific Northwest, but for the nation as a whole, we're way down on those hot 90-degree days. We're also kind of a slow start here with the hurricane season. Usually it's already pretty active in the Pacific, and we're not having anything much as of late, but we might actually officially get Alvin here the next few days. This it looks like has a pretty decent shot to become the first system in the East Pacific, but again, been a very, very slow start and nothing at all in the Atlantic to worry about. Tornadoes, on the other hand, have been pretty significant. We're at 1,209 and counting, so that's well above the average. Average this time of year should only be about 979 or so. So again, we're way above average. Not as much as extreme as those big years where we had over 1,500 at this point in the season. So winding down a bit here with slightly warmer trends as of late. So not a lot of tornadic activity here in the next couple weeks. Looking at drought, again, non-existent here. A map on the left is 2019 across North America. Drought is pretty significant actually down in Mexico and parts of western Canada. Compared to last year, though, we had pretty extreme drought from the southwest into the south central U.S. So nothing like we saw last year. In fact, this is a near record low drought status across the U.S. as a whole. If we look at this week overall, we'd say it's a little cooler than last year, 13th coolest in 30 years. So we actually are going to get some warmer weather finally here in the east. Been pretty hot in the mid-Atlantic and southeast, but getting some of that up here in the northeast finally, and some warmer, drier weather here in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, so we'll take it for sure. Driest in 3 years nationally, 12th driest in 30 years. Don't tell that to the folks down in the south central U.S., Little Rock especially, where they're going to get at least another 5+ inches of rain. So that'll be the wet spot is down in that south central, southeast areas here this week. Jumping ahead to next week, first full week of July, looks like it's going to be a little coolest in 4 years, 14th coolest in 30 years. A lot of that's due to the western part of the country, and these are high temperatures. So again, above normal across the Midwest and the East. Again, haven't seen first good taste of some summer weather. So again, it's still July, so it's not that it's going to be cold out there. It's just, again, relative to the time of year, coolest in 4, and again, maybe the wettest again in 30 years with a lot of thunderstorm activity across the upper plains, Midwest. Fortunately, keeping some of it out of that Illinois, Missouri area where it's been exceedingly wet. Florida may actually get some rain activity as well. Looking at the world overall here, if we just aggregate these 14 days as a whole, again, not much in the U.S. here. Again, U.S. overall, we'd say this first 2 weeks, last week of June, first week of July, looks to be the coolest in 4 years. Warm and humid, but definitely nothing blistering hot in terms of major heat waves. Fewest 90-degree Fahrenheit days expected here in 15 years for the next couple weeks. Recall last year, this time frame, we had the second most hot 90-degree days across the country. So a pretty dramatic shift across the U.S. Europe's pretty toasty as well. Russia's actually pretty cold, and way up in Siberia, actually pretty hot. So again, these are just the world trends as an aggregate over the next couple weeks. And if we look at precipitation trends versus average, again, very dry throughout look at the tropics there from Africa through the Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico. So if you have a cruise here planned the next couple weeks, you picked a good period here. Looks like it's going to be pretty dry across the Caribbean. U.S. overall, again, on the wet side across the northern tier, maybe finally getting some rain out in the Pacific Northwest. They definitely need it. A little bit of droughtish type conditions setting up in the Seattle area and Washington. So this will help a bit. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week, and we will be back here this time next week.